Guys were off the bandwagon. I thought it needed to be done. It's what he deserved, and I'd call it karma. These are all quotes regarding the resignation of longtime Clemson head coach Tommy Bowden after starting the 2008 season 3-3 with back-to-back embarrassing losses to Maryland and Wake Forest. In his place steps young Dabo Swinney, formerly the wide receiver coach at Clemson, now the interim head coach. Swinney was a notoriously great recruiter in his time at Clemson, but had no head coaching experience to date, so the odds of getting the full-time gig were not in his favor. Well, not until...
More by himself in the game time. And Davis, what's on the left side? And Davis inside the 10. Touchdown, Clemson!
Following their 31-14 win over rival South Carolina, Dabo was officially named the permanent head coach of the Clemson Tigers. A risky choice considering his lack of experience, but one that would pay off almost immediately with the announcement that Swinney had convinced all ACC tailback CJ Spiller to wait to make the jump to the NFL and make his grand return to the Tigers in 2009. The 2009 season started off rocky for the Tigers as they fell to 2-3 in their first 5 games and would end that skid dropping a game to Maryland for the third time in 4 years. A team that was a measly 25-26 in that time frame. With their back against the walls the rest of the way, the Tigers were in desperate need of a spark, and boy did they get one. Clemson would go on to win its next 6 games in a row, riding off a historic run from the returning CJ Spiller. In those 6 games, Spiller would combine for over 930 all-purpose yards, 10 all-purpose touchdowns, and was on pace to break the FBS record for kick return touchdowns in a career, which he ended up doing. Off the back of an All-American season from Spiller, Clemson would finish at 24th in the AP poll, going 9-5 with a win in the Music City Bowl over Kentucky, marking an excellent start to Dabo Swinney's tenure as the head coach of the Clemson Tigers. And it was all uphill from there.
Interception thrown by Taj Boyd. Jenkins has the pick, and Jenkins has blockers ahead of him. Did he get into the end zone?
Wait, what? Is that Clemson losing to South Florida in the Menachie Car Care Bowl? This Clemson? Led by this guy? Yeah, 2010 was not the best year for the Tigers. In fact, in Dabo's entire tenure, it's actually the worst. Clemson had a tough time replacing CJ Spiller after he left for the NFL. Starting quarterback Kyle Parker had the sophomore slump of the century, throwing just 12 touchdowns and 11 picks on his way out of Clemson to the MLB draft. His backup didn't do much better, and it all culminated in an 86th ranked offense on the year and a prompted firing of offensive coordinator Billy Napier. Yes, that Billy Napier. So you might be thinking, why are we even talking about this team? To which I would respond, because I feel like it, okay? Jeez. But more importantly, I would tell you to rewind for just 1 second. With Kyle Parker leaving the Tigers for the MLB draft, I spot a vacancy for the QB1 job. Maybe if they get the right guy in there, it may be a bit better. Oh yeah, it's this guy. Remember him? The guy who threw the pick in the clip earlier? Yeah, no shot this guy's going to be any good.
Looking for Sammy Watkins. Touchdown, This is Boyd, and he does it on his own and then turns it on. Taj Boyd, could he? Yes!
The Taj Boyd era at Clemson really starts before Boyd even got on campus. See, behind the curtain, young Dabo had been doing what Dabo had done best his whole career: recruiting. Since being named interim and then full-time head coach of the Tigers up to this point, Dabo had recruited the likes of Sammy Watkins, Nuke Hopkins, Andre Ellington, Martavis Bryant, Dwayne Allen, and of course, Tajh Boyd. Now, in Dabo's third full season as a head coach, his guys had the claim to the throne. Andre Ellington became the full-time replacement for CJ Spiller. The pairing of Sammy Watkins and DeAndre Hopkins was one of the best in the conference. Dwayne Allen was a consensus All-American tight end, and the main man Tajh Boyd was the best quarterback in the conference. The 2011 Clemson Tigers would finish 10-3 with their first ACC championship victory in 20 years, and would receive an invitation to play in the Orange Bowl with a chance to win their first major BCS bowl game in over 30 years, and solidify themselves at the top of college football in a pretty favorable matchup against West Virginia. Wait, is that? Uh-oh. Clemson was decimated by one of college football's best offenses of that era. Dana Holgerson's air raid exposed the Tigers and its mediocre defense, leading to the pursuit of other coaching opportunities for then defensive coordinator Kevin Steele. Dabo went on to poach Oklahoma's defensive coordinator Brent Venables, who had been with the Sooners for well over a decade before jumping ship to become one half of the highest paid coordinator duo in the sport, alongside Clemson offensive coordinator Chad Morris. At this point, it was clear Dabo was not messing around, and it was on to 2012. Clemson was a much improved team overall going into 2012, keeping the majority of their offense together while going from a bottom 40 defense in 2011 to a top 40 defense this season. Pair that with a top 10 offense, and they're looking at a real good opportunity to play in another major BCS bowl. Tajh Boyd was of course lights out again this year, throwing for nearly 4,000 yards and 36 touchdowns. The Tigers landed 10 All-ACC nominees and won 10 of their first 11 games of the regular season, with their only loss in that stretch being to the 4th-ranked Florida State Seminoles. The only thing standing between the Tigers and a major BCS bowl victory was the South Carolina Gamecocks.
That's going to be a 15-yarder there. No doubt about it. DJ Swearinger, as if he couldn't help himself.
Yes, the Tigers blew their opportunity at greatness once again, and they had to settle for a Chick-fil-A Bowl win over LSU, which ironically would have been a major bowl game now, but wasn't at the time. Following the season, the Tigers would lose a big chunk of talent from the 2012 season, including receiver DeAndre Hopkins, leading rusher Andre Ellington, as well as key defensive pieces in Malachi Goodman and Jonathan Meeks. But in all honesty, Dabo had no problem replacing those guys, and for the first time in a long time, Clemson wasn't led by its offense. 2013 saw the resurgence of Clemson's defense under Brent Venables, and with future NFL talent in Stephon Anthony, Bashad Breeland, Vic Beasley, Grady Jarrett, J-Ron Curse, and a few others, it was hard to overlook that Tiger defense. That was until you looked at the offensive numbers for that season. Another stellar year from Tajh Boyd, one of the best wide receiver quartets in the country, a solid replacement for Andre Ellington. What could go wrong?
Well, somebody got the ball, Coach. The Gamecocks are going to win this one 31-17.
Look, we never said this team was going to win the national championship, alright? Regardless of those pesky Gamecocks, Clemson would once again go 10-2 in the regular season, but with a much better resume than they had in 2012, seeing as their only 2 losses were to 2 top 10 teams. Plus, statistically speaking, Clemson was one of the best teams in the country, and so the BCS selected Clemson to play in the Orange Bowl once again. And last time they did earn a favorable matchup, although we know how it ended, so let's just see who it is. Surely it can't be that bad. Oh dear God. Well, let's get this over with.
32. This is Boyd. And he does it on his own and then turns it on. Tajh Boyd. Touchdown. Watkins, his 11th of the year. His end zone. It's Tajh Boyd. Oh, they may flag this here. Intentional grounding. So far. Here's the fade. And there's the touchdown. 6'5", Martavis Bryant. And he cruises right through that door. a stop on third and 14. It's intercepted. C.J. Barnett.
And there it is. Clemson does what they do best. Choke it away. I mean, what did you expect? Some kind of miracle or something?
Oh, boy. What a game he's had.
Stephon Anthony is going to seal this deal.
Would you look at that? I had faith in him all along. Clemson would beat the Buckeyes 42-35, and after 5 long seasons as head coach of the Tigers, Dabo Swinney would have his first major BCS bowl victory. And, well, he would go on to do a lot better things with these teams. A few more ACC titles, a few national titles, actual wins against South Carolina, but none of those teams would have ever even existed without this team laying the groundwork for the future. An era of Clemson football that has long been forgotten, but an era that was pivotal in forming the modern college football landscape. And a team we think shouldn't be forgotten. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, feel free to like and subscribe. It helps us out a lot, and we will see you in the next one.